And on the backpack, we wrote, wherever there's trouble over land, sea, and air, G.I. Joe is there. Butchering a little bit, and it is the smallest font ever.
And you can read it.
You can read it.
With a magnifying glass?
We were discussing it earlier. I just like the idea of him setting up camp, pulling out that shovel and saying, and then just going for it.
Yep.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh Weekly. As always, I'm Robo, and we're back on Sunday. Because that's what everybody wanted, right? That's what Hasbro wanted. That's why they ran PulseCon on Friday, my usual shooting day. So here I am, 2 o'clock in the morning, in front of a camera, talking about toys. Could life get any better than this? But I have plans for Saturday morning, so I won't get to editing until around afternoon. So Sunday schedule it is. At least for YouTube, it'll go up on Patreon but if you're watching this on YouTube, it's already too late. So that's just how time works. If it were up to me, there would be no toy news on Fridays. But that's just me being selfish. I want to compile everything Thursday night, get in front of the camera Friday, get everything posted, keep a schedule, because I'm old and I like my schedule. But I don't rule the universe, do I? Not yet. Kicking off with something that we already knew about, here are more promotional pictures of the Kaiyodo Amazing Yamaguchi My Hero Academia Ayazawa. And the good thing about getting more pictures and the official pre-order is that we now find out more than we did with the teases and the initial pictures, which is what usually happens whenever they release more information. We learn more. Oh, can you tell it's late? Early. The binding cloth is a lot more dynamic than I originally thought, with more pieces to hold in his hands and the bent pieces. It just makes for more interesting fighting poses. And yes, I say that even though they released the full accessory picture last week, giving us a rundown of everything that's included, but there's a difference between that and actually utilizing it on the figure. I look at this and go, okay, it comes with that and that and that and that. But I look at this and go, well, okay, it comes with that, and that. One of the up-in-the-air biggies was the Kaiyodo exclusive faceplate, though. Last week it seemed like it was the whole head, and the relaxed hair wasn't featured in any of the pictures of the figure itself, just this head. But now they've come and said, no, it's just that faceplate for the blurred face. The relaxed hair does come with the regular figure, and I guess they consider that part of the main figure and didn't put it in the accessory shot. It was a little confusing. But no more confusion. Again, more information. Always a good thing. All in all, Eraserhead is my favorite character from My Hero Academia, so I need this. Already pre-ordered. McFarlane Toys decided that last Friday was the best day to reveal their DC Multiverse Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom figures, and I missed it by this much. That's okay though, that's what next week's are for. And next week's, and next week's, and next week's, and more toys, and it's just a never-ending cycle of just purchasing and money and pre-orders. Of course there's Aquaman, and I love that the design incorporates the comic book colors. There's the orange, there's the green, and at first glance it's like, oh, that's cheesy as hell, but you take a second, let it lock in, and you think, okay, that's pretty badass, that's cool. But I don't know about these shoulder pads. I've seen the trailer, and I know that's why they released because the trailer released last Friday too. So it was just a big conspiracy to throw off the weekly. I know how the world works, but I don't remember those shoulder pads being separate. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I forgot something. I wouldn't put it past myself. You need to quit forgetting stuff. But I don't like the look either way, even if it is accurate. Yeah, it throws it off. I find myself liking this stealth suit version a whole lot more for some reason. Maybe it's the silhouette. But of course, you take a character, put him into stealth, put him into a black suit, then he's automatically cooler, right? That's how it works. The gold label Target exclusive stealth suit ramps it up a little bit with some translucent limbs, like he's going into actual stealth mode. I thought it was just him hiding in shadows, but I guess he actually turns invisible or something? But more than that, he comes with an ocean-dwelling friend. Ooh, I love little things like that. Black Manta returns in this movie, and again, I love the translation from comics to film. Okay, the helmet could be a little bit big, but again, I saw the trailer, but I wasn't paying attention to exact proportions. But even in the comics, he's got a big helmet that gear has to go around. It has to fit over a head with the big eyes. Blasts. I thought the blasts plugged into the eyes somehow for his beam attack, but it's actually jetpack type thing. Propulsion. King Kordax is very interesting. Very crustacean. Very stony. I don't know a lot about underwater life, but this looks familiar somehow, like I've seen it, or it reminds me of something from another movie, but in a kingly design. The crown on top. Oh, barnacles. Does that lead me to pirates and Davy Jones? Is that what I'm thinking of? The Megafig Sunken Citadel pirate had me all kinds of confused at first. I thought, okay, there's some fishy parts. I love the fins. I especially love the beard. But then I started looking at the body, and it's super smooth with some armor plates. Not fish-type armor plates. Some actual armor plates. Then I realized he's wearing a suit, like diving gear. There's holes for his fins and his head and his fishy parts. Not all his fishy parts. Maybe that's why he's wearing a suit. But beyond that, it's one of those jack-of-all-trades figures. I can take it, use it as a monster on other shelves, in other displays, with other toy lines. But the one that catches my eye the most is Storm. This thing's beautiful. It's a big pearlescent seahorse, or sea dragon they call it, I guess. That would make it big enough for a human to ride. The colors just pop. It stands out. And really, I could put it with any seafaring hero. Hell, this would look even bigger and badder with some DC Universe classics. Maybe an Aquaman from there. He rides this thing around. Pretty sweet. But then this week rolled around and Entertainment Earth announced their exclusive gold label, The Joker Comedian Sketch Edition. Just like Batman last week, it takes an existing sculpt and puts it in a black and white color scheme. And also, like I said about Batman last week, I wish it went a little heavier with the shadows. There's other things that would cast darkness, and I wish they would have put it everywhere. But I can't lie, I love the face. The way the eyes peer out of the darkness is just so sinister. But then again, I'm a sucker for Joker, so I may be biased. Mezco held their RumbleCon this week, and as I predicted, there were some 1/12 Collective Rumble Society reveals. I mean, it wasn't a stretch, they named it RumbleCon. If I can figure it out, then everyone had it figured out, right? There was, of course, Darth Gomez. What, that's not what it's called? No. This is Void Cadet Gomez Red Eye Knight. But we know what's going on here. Because there's also Alumu Rook, who takes that concept even further. While Gomez may drift to the dark side eventually, this is the guy that led him there. Or at least that's the story I'm going with, because I don't know anything about it. So...
Gomez, I am your uncle. By marriage.
Then there were some reveals that weren't really reveals. They were more teases, like this Crab Louie. Hey, I was just talking about some Ocean Life top characters. And then there's a bear trap at Gangrene Estates or something. What made waves, though, at least in my circles, was the Rumbler. The reinforced urban military battle land rig. It's a good year for vehicles like this, what with the G.I.Joe Classified Series Vamp and then the Action Force Vanguard. Pretty soon that garage is going to be full. Since my brain doesn't automatically go to military aspects, I looked at this and thought, is that Mask Jackhammer? Can I get a Cliff Dagger? Oh no, that's not Mask. But it's still awesome. Wonder how much this is going to cost. Psst. Have you ever heard of Operation Monster Force? I've talked about the benefits of weekly pre-orders when it comes to stories getting embedded in your brain, but there's also something to be said about keeping the product in front of your eye holes on a weekly basis. This week's offering is the General, who is actually 4 characters in one. The Sentinels are a group of generals that make the hard decisions when it comes to the fate of the world. This listing is titled General Brown, and it even has a name tag with Brown on it, but then there's an alternate pocket with a blank name tag on it. Is this the only named general, and then you just come up with names for the rest of them? Or or will there eventually be other pockets with other official name tags? Because General Brown looks an awful lot like Carl Weathers. And can I put Ross on the name tag for this head? Maybe Colton would be appropriate for this noggin? I'm blanking on this one though. No idea what this could be a reference to. I want to say it's just a generic head that you can do whatever you want with, but with the rest of them being homages to other things, I'm figuring I'm missing something. So, is there something obvious that I should know here? One thing that does jump out at me though, the release date for this is Q2 2025. That's really pushing out there. Are the weekly pre-orders going to continue if we're working with that kind of lead time? Or are we winding down because we're moving into 2025 with the release dates? I don't know. Here's some good news for the Fwoosh Toys Ninja Scroll Jubei. It's funded. We did it. That means it's happening. It's getting made. It's a reality. Well, after, the tooling is cut and the test shots are approved and the manufacturing actually happens and the long, slow boat ride across an ocean happens, and then train and unloading and warehouse and distribution. But it's happening. That's just what happens when it comes to making toys. There's some waiting. Unless you have millions and millions and millions of dollars in your own factories or factories that cater directly to you. But when you're a little company, you have to get in line and just kind of hang out and wait. But the first step is achieved, funding. So if you were waiting until that green light that it was actually going to happen, now's your chance. You have a little more time to get in on pre-orders. Right now, go do it. Yeah, because onward and upward, we may be seeing something new very, very soon. The next step. But the whole reason we're gathered together a day late for the weekly is Hasbro's PulseCon. The Star Wars Black Series segment was short and sweet, but I can't really complain when they gave me exactly what I wanted. First, though, they are releasing an international archive wave consisting of Pilot Luke, Vader, Bo-Katan, and a Stormtrooper. These are for new collectors around the world, or people who may have missed these the first go around, or just want some fodder, or want to army build stormtroopers. Like I said though, international. These will not be available in the US. In fact, they said something to the tune of, they don't want to clog the pegs here, or that makes it sound bad, but that is essentially what they said. That's not what I was talking about when I said exactly what I wanted though. Although I never turn down stormtroopers unless they're in a set for $110 with another character. I have my limits. No. I am knee deep. No, I'm neck deep in the Ahsoka Disney Plus series, and I will take anything they want to make from that show. And lining everything up, Hasbro hasn't done a bad job of filling those ranks. But we always want more, so I'm super happy that they announced Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. And they do look good. Baylan all big and broad, and Shin is lithe and mysterious. They kinda have those concept art looks, like Baylan is a little pale and dark, and then Shin is bright and not quite. There's something off, but both figures capture the essence of the characters for the most part. At least I feel like they do. But I do wish the lightsabers were more orange. They even mentioned that during the live stream, and I went, no? Those are red. But man, that show is an action figure goldmine. The last episode alone has me a wish list this long. You know, him and him. Oh, and a bunch of them. And them. Her and her. And those. Maybe a couple of those too. You know what I'm talking about. All the toys. For Pipeline, there is a New Hope Darth Vader, Season 3 Mando, Clone Trooper, and Mandalorian Night Owl. Seems like a lot of reuse. Did they say there was going to be upgrades? I can't even remember now. It's been some hours. But it's also weird to announce a New Hope Vader directly after announcing an archive A New Hope Vader internationally. So, here's an old one in the archive packaging, and here's a new one with a slight upgrade. Are they going to take A New Hope Vader and give him butterflies like they did with some of the later Vaders? Later, Vaders. Next up was Marvel Legends, and between this and G.I. Joe, they more than made up for Star Wars being slightly thin. Okay, a lot thin, but like I said, they gave me what I wanted, so I can't complain too much. But Marvel Legends and G.I. Joe, first they had an update for the HasLab Giant Man, saying that there will now be swappable white antenna and eye options. I didn't pay much attention to the antenna color the first go around, but it makes sense. They're already interchangeable for the zombie head with the broken antenna. I guess white is a classic option. It actually matches the ear covers more. Why not throw it in? But the swappable eyes were something I didn't consider even after they talked about them being glass with behind. It makes sense to make them removable where you can pop in some that look to the side or down. Down was the biggie for me. It's a giant character. When he goes all stompy, angry through everything, wanting to... It looks down. I mean, you could do the head and crunch, but ooh, this is scarier. Then they recapped some figures that were actually debuted at San Diego Comic-Con that are the start of the next wave. Crystar, Vision, Justice, and Power Princess is only the beginning. There's also Savage Namor, who I do remember from the 90s. It took me a minute, and then it snapped it. Oh, wait. Yeah, I do remember those covers. But this look is growing on me quickly. I think it's the hair. Or maybe the armor? Again, going back to ocean-faring characters a minute ago, he'd look pretty sweet with a pearlescent sea dragon, wouldn't he? To keep him company in the water is Namorita. And again, it took me a second to realize this is her look from the last run of New Warriors, wasn't it? At least I'm calling it the last run. There may have been something since then, but modern comics, I haven't been keeping up. Not exactly what everyone was clamoring for, but they were quick to say, oh, whoa, the classic version is on its way at some point, especially since they were giving us classic New Warriors characters. So if you don't like it, don't buy it. Unless you want the Build-A-Figure, then you have to buy that. There's a new version of Black Panther on a new body with gold accessories. Yeah, it's another Black Panther, but he's an anchor character. He's a main Avenger. He's a big deal. It's either him or Captain America or Iron Man. Maybe Thor. Well, there's Namor too. Hey, you want to upgrade Black Panther? I'm there. I thought this was Killmonger at first, but this was Priest's run, right? Where Killmonger did take over for a little bit, but his suit had some skulls on it, I think. Then there's the Build-A-Figure Void, and I get the connection to the Avengers and to Sentry, but like a couple of other figures in this wave, I just have no connection. I mean, it's a kick-ass design, it's creepy, it's translucent, it's buggy feeling, it's some, like if you saw it, you'd kind of, I need to buy a trap for that, a void trap. But it makes it easier for me to cherry pick this wave because I don't need that. But that's just me though, I'm just speaking to my own situation. Because I also feel the same way, kinda, about the MCU Spider-Man retro carded wave, but for other reasons, because it doesn't come with a Build-A-Figure. I can just pick and choose what I want. MJ is in her look from No Way Home, which is the theme of this wave, so no issue there. Matt Murdock was needed for the grounded dude in suit of the wave, but I think I'm gonna hold out for his She-Hulk superhero duds. Or at least I hope we get that yellow costume. That's my most wanted out of the MCU at the moment. Sandman was one of my few Marvel Legends pre-orders today because he was a No Way Home baddie. That's essential. That's needed. I want to build that team, even if he does look like naked oatmeal. This shot sells it though. Oh, so good. But then there's the 3 Spider-Mans, which may or may not cause sore backsides because of the 3-pack that's already been released. Friendly Neighborhood includes an unmasked Tobey Maguire head, and Amazing has the Andrew Garfield option. But notice Amazing Spider-Man is branded Amazing Spider-Man 2 and not No Way Home like the rest of the wave. Is this to circumvent whatever legalities caused Bandai to cancel their SH Figuarts Andrew Garfield heads from their release? In fact, didn't we see this exact same tactic from Hot Toys to release their Andrew Garfield Spider-Man with the unmasked heads? Maybe that's why we didn't get unmasked heads in that 3-pack, because they would have had to title it Spider-Man and Spider-Man from No Way Home. and then Spider-Man from Amazing Spider-Man 2, or give Toby and Tom unmasked heads and not Andrew. That would have been a bigger mess. I think the 3-pack was just to get product out there to say, hey, we're making Spider-Man stuff, and then work it out later on where they could title them different. I don't know, I'm just coming off as that old Hasbro apologist, huh? Trying to talk myself through the whole situation rationally and calm and cool and collected. This is the internet, that doesn't happen. Or maybe I'm just talking in circles again because I'm pretty happy with my 3-pack figures that I put third-party unmasked heads on. So I can skip these. But then I had to pay for the third-party and or custom heads. And that's more price on something they should have gave us in the first place. I do want Final Swing Tom Holland Spider-Man, though. That was my other pre-order of the day. I love this suit, but I can't deny that I love most of the movie suits. But this is straight out of the comics. This is a pure translation. Putting it that way, I also have a lot of nice comic book Spider-Man, so why? Leave me alone. I want this. I shall have it. Even more unpassable is the Marvel Legends No Way Home Green Goblin. Holy shit, was this worth the wait. I just mentioned Figure Arts, and they have a Norman of their own up for pre-order, but putting the two side by side, oh man, I'm going for the Marvel Legends. Okay, I give it up to SHF for being a little bit shinier, a little bit crisper in the details, but it all comes down to the face. The Bandai is downright bored, while Hasbro's is a crazy looking bastard. That gives it the edge. Completely. I know some of you are reaching for your keyboards right now to tell me just how much better the Figure Arts is than Marvel Legends. But stop. Think about it. Think about how wrong you are. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You do you, I'll do me. And we can all be happy. There's nothing to compare Doc Ock to, though. And with the posable arms and the swappable claws, Marvel Legends came out swinging. Well, there's that third-party Octavius that looked good in promo pictures, but apparently it released and it was floppy and not that fun to play with, so still the winner. But notice the Spider-Man 2 packaging here. Is there an issue with Alfred Molina 2? It doesn't matter though, that's just the trash around my figures. I toss that out. This is a No Way Home Doc Ock. Just like that's a No Way Home Andrew Garfield. You get the toys, you can do whatever you want with them. It doesn't matter what the package says. Finally, there is a fan vote winner that wasn't actually chosen because of the character itself, but more of a vague description of a character we would like. So here is the Winter Guard Red Widow. Crazy, they found another look I'm unfamiliar with. In fact, I have never heard of Red Widow before today. Figure-wise, she looks pretty limited in the head and the shoulders, but the overall design is pretty sweet, and I like the Winter Guard, so waiting and seeing. Speaking of some Robo Don't Know, the G.I. Joe team pulled out some classified figures that I'd never heard of before. But again, for the 1000th time, I was not a G.I. Joe kid. I had very few figures. I watched the cartoon. That was the extent of it. But I always like seeing new stuff. I like learning, or at least being told what the names of characters are, and I go, oh, he looks pretty cool. First, though, some name-only reveals. Those are Metalhead, Night Creepers, Cobra Ferret, Naugahyde with Friends, Retro Beachhead, Retro Eel, Retro Snow Serpents. Oh man, there is so much up my alley right there. I've said several times that the Snow Serpent was my favorite figure out of the few I had, so it does not hurt my feelings to get a different version. Night Creeper was high on that list too, so bring them on. I'm gonna assume Naugahyde comes with a boar, and the G.I. Joe team kills it with animal figures. But more than that, a boar is one step away from a Razorback, and I always have to root for the hometown team. No, I don't know anything about sports. That's just what I've dealt with all my life. Ferret gives us another small Cobra vehicle, and another chance at Beachhead and Eels is not a bad thing. Metalhead was the big mystery. I'd never heard of him before, but that didn't last long. We'll get to that. For digital reveals, they started off with Big Boa, and like I said, or like I say all the time, I'm not really into this line for the military aspect. I know it's the basis for a lot of it, but I'm in for the wacky sci-fi silliness. And it's a dude in a metal helmet with boxing gloves. But I like that they reeled him up a little bit with an unmasked head with a missing tooth and then the bloody wrapped bare hands. Airborne's going to make a great addition to the Dragonfly when it shows up. For those of you who got the Dragonfly, I didn't back it because it's too helicoptery. Like I said, I like the weirdness, the hiss tanks. Quick Kick was on the very short list of customs I was going to make at some point until I realized that this damn team is going to make it their life mission to give us every damn G.I. Joe character ever created. So making customs is useless. Well, for the most part. Psst. Hey guys. You ever heard of Robo Joe? Wink if he's anywhere on your radar. The Techno Viper brings yet more purple to the Cobra ranks, which wasn't really my bag during the whole vote for the Hiss Tank guy thing. But after getting the Televiper, okay, I'll take more. Next, it didn't take long to reveal the actual look for Metalhead, and this is how you make a splash. He's got rocket launchers attached to his body. Come on now. Come on now. Mutt and Junkyard were in the case at SDCC, but apparently that was due to impatience. They weren't actually supposed to show up, but it was like, hey, he's here. Here you go. Everyone wants to see him. And you're right. I wanted to see him. But to get a better digital look at him, those mean faces that match up between the two while giving us the good dog look too. And again, their animal figures are excellent. In fact, Mutt and Junkyard were also in my toy box as a kid. I said I had very few, and they seem to be knocking those out quick. They're just strumming those nostalgia strings for me. Oh man, and it feels good. When Glinda was announced for the Dragonfly, we all knew that a retro Scarlet would be right around the corner, and we were right. Look at that, we're all prognosticators. Looking so classic, and I'm gonna skip to Duke because it's the same concept. They've given us like the modernized versions of these characters, and that is great for people who are wanting that. But then swing back around, give the vintage collectors something to buy too. Everyone is happy. That's how it works, right? Rakondo is out of his Battle Cat camo Tiger Force look, which again was expected. But I kind of like the extra splash of color the greens and yellows give the figure I already have. Then again, I haven't been face to face with this on the pegs, going through the personal dilemma of, ooh, should I go for the more classic look or should I stick with what I got? That's a bridge I'll cross when I get to it. Then for the 60th anniversary of G.I. Joe as a property, there's the Action Soldier and the Action Sailor. These are callbacks to the original figures from the 60s, but more than that, they're troop builders. They're deluxes, obviously, but they also give you a lot of options to make each trooper unique when standing next to each other. I mean, you can tell that they're all the same group, but with the pouches coming off and being swapped out and the weapons and the heads and everything, it looks like an army. You have backup for all your Joes. Then it was on to the pre-orders for today, which was a lot of figures we already knew about, just with new pretty promotional pictures. Ripper looks fantastic, and I will take any and all Dreadnoks. So you can already guess that I'm going to say the same thing about Buzzer, right? I mean, another Dreadnok, put them together. Dreadnok, Nagahide on the way. They mentioned the thigh pads on him to prevent himself from cutting when he's swinging around the chainsaw, but I noticed there's also a cod piece made out of the same material. Buzzer using his noodle. I don't know Agent Helix, but from the first time I saw her with those big, intricate arm blades along with swords, and now seeing her in all these crazy poses, oh man, the yellow, the hair, it's just striking and stabbing. Striking and stabbing. I'm kind of the same way with Shockwave, but here it's the blues that sell me. Don't get me wrong, I like the shield, I like the hat, I like the gear, I like the weapons, I like the overall feel, but that blue is going to stand out in the sea of Joes. But the Joes have to have someone up front and center, and that's where Hawk comes in. He's more military than anything else, so I can say it all day of, oh, well, I like the crazy ones, but this looks good too. It's very classic feeling. And that is all for this week. It is weird being thrown off schedule. It really, really is. And I wish I could say we'll be back on Saturday next week, but that's a lie. Toy Fair is next week, so I may do a video Wednesday night or Thursday. to post Friday. Well, it depends on when I have to drive up to Veeb's house. Because I think we're going to arrive in New York Friday. I'm going to find out the schedule. But I may try to do a rundown of toys that are revealed early in the week, get that up, do some traveling, and then we'll do some live streams. And then the next week, we'll be back on schedule. Probably for the rest of the year, because I'm not sure if there's anything else scheduled. Halloween and Thanksgiving, holidays, Christmas, back around to the new year. 2023, huh? Yep.